Before I started practicing, my lifestyle was very much one, I guess, kind of like a just, it's kind of standard like Canadian American guy lifestyle, but I was always very physical, like into different types of sports like snowboarding, rock climbing, mountain biking. I always loved being active. I'd heard about yoga as a type of what I thought was just exercise, and I was trying to look at different forms, of things that I could do to stay healthy. Actually, I was in Edmonton one day, and I was walking like past a yoga studio, and it said Ashtanga Yoga, and I thought it was just a regular class, and I went in there, and it was Ramin Peyrao, and he was running the Ashtanga program in Edmonton there, and I walked in, and so I walked into like a Mysore room. I could tell there was a difference in that studio actually. Like it was like, okay, this isn't like a fitness place. This is like they had a picture of Krishnamacharya on the wall, who I didn't know that was at the time. I could feel the difference, and I was like, oh, okay, like, and then things were starting to like, I was starting to clue in like, that there's levels and differences within this thing called yoga, Practice of Ashtanga has benefited my life in many different ways. And it keeps unfolding, as the years and years go on. And I think, maybe the reasons you start out in the beginning aren't the same reasons that you keep going or that you have now. It's kind of hard to know what you're in for, and maybe that's also a good thing in the beginning, because you go through a transformation, and it works, very subtly and slowly. But I guess one of the biggest benefits for me is that it just gives me this space every day to look within, using the structure and the system of Ashtanga in order to watch what's going on in my mind. It's gonna show you how you lived the 23 hours before. If you didn't get enough sleep, you're gonna know it. If you weren't eating properly, you're gonna know it. If you're sitting at a desk all day, you're gonna feel it. So it's this thing that keeps you honest. It's like you have to make sure, especially as you get older, right? Because it's like you get away with less. There's different types of injuries you can go through, right? Like some that are very straightforward, like a broken bone. You kind of have like an end date. It's like, well, it's probably going to be healed by this time. But when you go through something that's that you don't know what the cause is or where it's coming from, like a back injury, right? Was the which is the one that I went through. That's can be really scary, because it's like you don't know what's hurting it, what's helping it, and how to fix it and everything, right? Basically, okay, in your practice, you're given postures and you keep getting them, and then at some point you get to your last posture with you and your teacher, and you have to work there, right? And then it's kind of assumed, okay, well, I'll just keep working here and then I'll get the next posture. You never think, oh, well, actually, maybe this time you're going to go back the other way.
Like digressing.
Yeah, that started to happen to me, right? It was like, okay, all of a sudden I started to lose postures. I couldn't do them anymore, ones that I had been able to do before. It was harder and harder and harder, and I kept going down, and my back started hurting more and more. So right there, you're really faced with the challenge for the ego, especially because if you've identified it all with as good practices, being able to do postures, then now you're going into the shala. You can't do the postures. This is the part where I'm going to learn. I'm going to get past this, and then I'm gonna understand it more, right? So yeah, but keeping that motivation is really difficult. Luckily, I had the support of my community at AYV, and especially Fiona, my teacher. She was there saying you'll get through this. Don't worry, you'll figure it out and stuff like that. And from that spot, from like laying on my back breathing and then rebuilding my practice right from the very beginning up until like where I am now, it's completely changed. It's a whole new experience than to what my practice was like before that injury. If you go to that spot and all of a sudden you can do Surya Namaskar B, like it'll be the best Surya Namaskar B of your life, because like you appreciate it so much, you know. Yeah, I mean, it was different growing up or practicing out in Alberta, because it's not widely, at the time, it's getting different now, but at the time it wasn't widely accepted to do yoga. Like none of my friends were doing it. There was no yoga studios around me. Like now that I look back, those 5 years of practicing by myself, it, it, uh, it actually gives me such faith in the process of what like a yoga asana can do for somebody, because it allows you to listen in to yourself and act independently of external circumstances. And so I started doing yoga, and it brought me in, it made me make decisions in my life to move to a place where I could have a community, you know. So yeah, you just start and then you see what happens, kind of thing.